Hello, hello. How's it going, y'all? Welcome to episode 128. You heard that right, 128. It's one of the coveted Power of Two episodes, which is crazy. I actually kind of want to look and see, like, where we were at last time we had a Power of Two episode 64. Like, I just want to see what we were working on. I'm going to bring it up, try to figure it out. If I scroll all the way back to episode 64, what kind of stuff were we working on? Wow, that was before the solo dev game jam back in August? Episode 64. Oh man. We were like, okay. Let's check this out. Let's check this out for a minute as an exercise. Hoping I don't break my stream, which I've done before trying to play videos while streaming. Episode 64 aired 5 months ago. It would be cool if they told me, oh, they do. August 6th. That was our last Power of Two episode. What kind of stuff were we working on? Look at that handsome man. Okay, we had like the original ship layout, the like handcrafted ship layout. What could we do with it? Okay, we have the tile cutout system. Look how trash the tiles look without the outlining, without the auto tiler doing the outlining for us. Like, look at how it's maybe hard to tell with the contrast, but there's like black lines in between every single set of tiles. Maybe that's cool from like a game grid standpoint. Like maybe we do an overlay of that when you're like clicking on a unit and deciding where to move them to, but like what were we working on? We were still talking about this. We were talking about like hull types. What else were we working on? A lot of code. A lot of code. Okay, it looks like we were working on the original version of the auto tiler. We were working on some very similar stuff to what we're working on now, which is concerning. I had my headphones on. We were blasting music the whole episode. Oh, you can't see. There I am. Okay. I can actually use footage of my previous streams like this because I just overlay myself onto myself. Okay. Okay, so that's kind of what we were working on. We were thinking about auto tiling, but it looks like, oh no, here it is. Here's the sheet of doom. The relationship between all the faces. Okay, so we'd already done this and realized that this was like not doable, I hope. I'm like not going to listen to myself speak. I'm really hoping I like realize that this was a you only see one of me. Now there's two of me. How's it going, Cubus? Good to see you. How are you been? I know you've been busy. Okay, well that's fun. That was a fun little journey down memory lane for episode 128. Let's maybe do that every time we do a Power of Two episode. Maybe that'll be our retrospective episode. We'll do a little every time we hit a Power of Two. We'll look back. I mean, I might change. I might change that once we get up to around 256 or 5. Once we hit 512, I might change my opinion about that because then I'm waiting until 1024. But maybe those ones will be like real retrospectives. Whereas this is just like I'm spending a few minutes at the start of the stream talking about it. What else did I want to talk about? There was a couple of other things. We can switch back to just chilling while we chill here for a minute. I want to talk about some stuff they've announced for Godot 4.4. Let me bring that up here. Looking back after 1.5 years, if you did every day. Yeah. Yeah. Because 128, 64 was just August. So our next Power of 2 episode 256, I want to do at least 200 streams a year. I did 120 good FTL-like streams last year. We did another 30 or 40 on like game jams. So we streamed like maybe 170, 160, 170 episodes last year. I want to do at least 200. My goal is 240 total streams. We'll see if we can hit that. That's my goal for this year. 240 streams. Cool. So I want to talk about some of these UID changes for 4.4. I also want to talk about something else, which is sad. We're not going to talk about it very much. I just want to acknowledge that it's happened, which is that Ludum Dare's 2025 events have been canceled. Which is very sad. Some people I know are putting together an alternative. Eddie Koyo. Oh, I need to find the link. Koyo Game Jam. Hold on, let me look for this. Oh, Edekoyo is a thing already. Or wait, is this the same website? They've been working on the website so much I can't tell if it's the same thing. Edekoyo Jam. Edekoyo.com. Jam.edekoyo.com. Okay, yeah, so jam.edekoyo.com. We're at least getting a jam. Yeah, I know, F. We're at least getting a community-led replacement jam for the replacement for LD57, which is April 4th to 7th. So this is being put on by a bunch of streamers and content creators and jammers, people that I trust, like Adagon Dev is like, I think, leading it. Adagon Dev, Pomo, the Dev, Bad Cop, Kuvia Man, bunch of people over at Game Jam Central are putting this together. You can join the Discord at jam.edekoyo.com. Hopefully we get some traction behind this. It'd be really great to have a community-run jam for April that we can get behind as a group. That'd be really cool. Yeah. I don't want to talk about the cancellation per se of this. It's just a little rough. It was like a community event, but clearly one person was truly in control of it, and the one person decided to, take their ball and go home. So now no one can have it. And it's like, I feel for them. I feel for, not being able to find a job, spending all of 24 looking for a job and not being able to do it. Maybe compromising too much to continue running Ludum Dare and not being able to prioritize their career or their family. I get it. A little sad. We all kind of thought, I think everyone kind of thought that the community owned this. But it's clearly, this is a private game jam run and operated by a single person. And if that single person doesn't want to do it anymore, that's it. That's just the way it is. So hopefully there will be some community-oriented jams that spring up to take its place. And hopefully it'll be back in 2026. So, yeah. Best wishes to, Mike and everyone who's kind of made Ludum Dare their home twice a year. But UID changes coming to Godot 4.4. This is really interesting. Bus factor of 1. Yeah. Yeah, that's not great. I mean, as a solo dev, I get it. But like, as soon as you bring a community in, you should start involving the community in this stuff. I think they made a lot of decisions in terms of their infrastructure that made it really hard to run. And I think partly it's because Ludum Dare is just such an old jam. So while there are plenty of like publicly available solutions to running a game jam nowadays, I think when they started, they understandably made everything themselves, and it made it really hard to run the jam. And I guess they never migrated. So I guess running the jam was actually like a significant burden in terms of time for one person at least. And they never seem to have, looped in more people. So RIP. So We'll see. GDC is like a week before LD57 was supposed to happen. And I did it last year right after GDC, but we'll see what my energy levels are like. I really want to do a jam. I'm kind of holding out for that Etakoyo jam because I know the people running it and I want to help grow it. So we'll see. And it's a short jam. It's like a 2 or 3 day jam. 3 day jam. 4th through 7th. 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. 4 day jam even maybe. I could do that. Yeah, so UIDs are coming. UIDs already arrived at 4.0, but there are big changes coming to 4.4. And it's like a unique identifier. And it's a really interesting alternative to using path names to identify things. Because if you use path names to identify stuff, then if the path changes, all your references break, right? And like, as long as you move files within Godot, the exported references get updated, but like string references don't change. So moving files, moving script files, especially, or moving anything that a script file references is especially rough to do in Godot. So the UID is maybe a potentially great alternative to that, where as long as you keep the UID file next to the file it references to, because it's kind of like a dot import file. It's going to be a file that's generated and stored next to the resource. And as long as you keep it next to the resource that it references, it should stay updated. So kind of cool. There seems like it'll be a good thing to move to. It references assets rather than nodes in the scene. So kind of not kind of cool. Will certainly be useful. I still need a solution for maintaining stable references to nodes in the scene, and I don't think there's a way to do that stays stable between runs, but we're gonna keep working on that. But this is cool. This seems cool. Cubist. Now, only if we could control click UIDs and it would focus the file. That would be sick. That would be really cool. That would be very cool. All right. Intro complete. Let's do some game dev. Let's open the file here. Get Rider going. So we fixed our bugs yesterday. We fixed the last bug. It was a problem with our unpacker, with our tile unpacker, which is embarrassing. So now we're... Please tell me I turned the input handler back on. I did. Okay, so now we're previewing tiles correctly, which is great. Let me change the tile type. Awesome. I should change this one to start. Can I say what state it's in to start? Is that an option here? Textures, base button, action mode. Looks like I can't specify that it's already, that it should be focused by default. It's a little weird. Ride or die. Yeah, ride or die. Um, it's a little weird. I would kind of like to be able to specify that this button is already focused. I could do that here, but that's like really hacky. Pressed. Is that not like a signal? Pressed is a base button signal. Is there a property? I mean, there's no editor property I can. There's button pressed. Does button press just do it? I can't set that without turning toggle mode on. That's kind of what that's not exactly what I want. I need to grab focus. Yeah. That's what I need to do. So for this, is this the same script though? Palette block, palette block, palette block. Okay, so I can't do it in script because these all have the same scripts. I could say something stupid, or I could hack it. I don't know. I should probably just change it so that there's no default, so that the default is empty, or I should do something else. I don't care about it right now. It's a little awkward, and we need a solution, but I don't want to come up with a solution at the moment. I would like to have it talk back to this thing so that if for some reason, like if I set up, I don't know, hotkey controls or something else, if something else wants to set which button is focused, I want to be able to talk back and do that. I want to be able to like call down and tell it that it's been focused by some other part of the engine. I don't want to set that up right now though. Cubist dev, if that's a block palette, you probably want to use toggle mode and a button group either way. That way you have radio buttons. Oh, maybe. Well, the way I kind of want it to work, I don't want toggle mode exactly, because I don't want you to be able to untoggle this. I want you to I want it to switch if you click another one, but I don't want you to be able to click it and untoggle it. I generally don't want to support null paintbrushes. Except the eraser, but the eraser is something else because the eraser still cares which of these you have. Weirdly, it cares whether you have a deck or a wall selected, even if you're in erase mode. Oh. Oh. I found a bug. What is going on here? This is fun. So when we trigger the eraser, when we have the wall selected, okay, the eraser works. But when we switch to eraser mode, we might just not be resetting the block thing. Okay, I can check on that. I can check on that. Yes, button group lets you set that. Okay, allow unpress is in fact the only specific setting button group has. Okay, okay. All right, button group, button group. Button group. The button group associated with the button, not to be confused with the node groups. Oh, come on, come back, tile tip. The button will be configured as a radio button if a button group is assigned to it. So should I just have one new button group that's called like palettes or something like that? Allow unpress. If true, it is possible to unpress all buttons in this button group. So I assign a button group, turn on toggle mode, and then I can set up one of these. Okay. Node configuration. Button group is intended to be used only with buttons that have toggle mode set to true. Okay, okay, okay. So let's save this under UI, editor, block, palette. We'd call this like palette button group. Something. Yeah, copy the button group from the drop down or save it file. Yeah. Okay, so we got our palette button group. We're going to set, is this a scene? These are not scenes. They should be, but they're not. So we can set toggle mode on. We can do the same thing here. Quick load, grab that. Set toggle mode. Same thing here. Quick load, button group, toggle mode. And then, so this we would say button pressed. Okay, and it starts selected. Beautiful. Button groups. The triumphant return of our workflow coach, our workflow guru, Kivas Dev. Okay, cool. Exactly what I want to see. Funky feature guru. So I can tab over, hit enter. Okay, so I have keyboard functionality too, because of the feet, because of the. Oh, how did that happen? Oh, it looks like our Hall auto tiler is not working. It's incorrect. It's setting the wrong side to being. Huh. Okay, well, that's good to know. Okay, yeah, I see some things that are happening. This still doesn't grab focus. Yeah, it does. What do you mean? It's got focus right here. Just by saying button pressed. Or are you talking about me tabbing through? Oh no, you're right, it doesn't have focus. Because I can't just tab through it on load. I have to click something. Okay. So what we can say is now we add the code script where we say if pressed. Well, pressed is a signal. Do we say if button pressed? Yeah, if button pressed, grab focus. Is that acceptable? That group dot get press button dot grab focus. Okay. I feel like this will also work, but let's see. Also acceptable. Okay, thank you. Okay, now we have focus. Okay, beautiful. Now let's understand why we're not cleaning up correctly in the tool system. So eraser, try preview block. So we don't have a try reveal block for both of. We need a try reveal block at the top of all of these. Okay, that fixed that. So there were just we weren't yeah, we weren't cleaning up after ourselves. Cool. All right, easy win. That's how you want to start the day, just with some easy wins. Yeah, I could see this being a little weird if I had a degenerate setup where I had multiple ones of these set to button pressed. So maybe your thing is better. Do I need a reference to this group? Or can I say like what you said? You said like palette. Can I say group? Button group? Is this our button group? Dot get pressed button. Ah, okay, I see. I see. Button group. Wait, where's button group go? Button group. Probably want to do this once in the UI script, or maybe in like some intermediary script if we want to do it that way. Because otherwise we're doing this on every object we're doing this. So can we do it like this? Can we say, can we grab the, so we're only doing it once for the whole palette. Is that acceptable? No, that crashes. On a null value. Okay, I guess we can't preload it. How do I get access to the group from somewhere else? How do I find a button group? Get that button dot button group. Okay, so you're saying I have to do it through a node that's assigned that group? There's no other way to do it? You think loading the resource? Yeah, I'm preloading it, which is maybe incorrect. Maybe I should just load it. In which case it's not a constant. Try that. Crash. What if we make it on ready? Crash. Oh, I can have a script assigned to the button group? Well, maybe I just do that. Oh, what? No, I want... What? 4K? Where did that script go? Where is this? Where is this script? Palette button group. Are you just in here somewhere? Do you just belong to the resource? In the scene, probably? I mean, part of the scene? I don't love that. Let's undo that. Let's make a script. Well, that's probably just floating around somewhere. Maybe I can spot it somehow. Don't need that. Do this. Go get our UI script. Palette button group. Oh, here it is. Palette button group. UI editor block. Palette group.tres GD script. Okay, yeah, it's underneath the resource. It's hidden within the resource, which I don't want to do. How does one delete that? I probably just need to delete the resource. Okay, well, rip. Let's do that again. You remove it, it should be gone from the scene. Oh, yeah, okay, I don't know. New button group. Save. Palette button group. I'm really hesitant about like things. I guess it's ref counted, so I don't know. Maybe it has some kind of thing, special thing, if it knows it's not being used by anything. It's probably smart enough. Ryson, are you doing this Edikoyo jam? What is the goal for today? No, the goal for today is adding some functionality to the tile editor. We just spotted a little UI fix up that we can do that Cubus is helping me with here. How's it going, Ryson? We're just improving our little palette selector to be a little more functional. So here we're just going to put in this. Extends button group. And we're going to go here and we're going to assign, we're going to load a script. Palette button group. This script, palette block, should be renamed palette block button. Or maybe just palette button. Now will it work? Crash. Oh, I still have this in the UI, don't I? Oops. All right. It's not working. So that's unfortunate. It's not working, but it's not throwing an error either. Is this not running because it's like not in... I have it on ready, but it's like not in the scene. Am I trying to be too clever here? Yeah, ready is not on a resource, only on node. Okay. Uh, hmm. Things are going well. You're just fiddling around with Godot add-ons, thinking about naming your add-on 2ply. That's fun. All right, well, where are we going to do this then? I don't know. I don't know if I care. I mean, we need to get that working, but maybe I'm trying to be too clever about it. So what do I want to invoke this? I mean, I could do it in the UI, but I don't really want to. I kind of would want to do it on the block palette or the block editor when the block palette gets loaded in. Right now, I could just do it on the UI. Maybe now I can invoke a call from the UI onto the resource. So can I do this now? Swear that UID would be pretty sweet, huh? All this like in it. And it's not a built-in function, is it? Can I call grab focus on a null value? What? Get pressed button dot grab focus? I'm a button group. I'm a button group. And I belong to a button group resource. Okay, maybe button groups are not as is not the right way to do this. Bryson, you'd probably export a button group and assign it through the property editor. That way the path isn't hard-coded as a string literal in your script. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. That's a little better in that it protects against moving the file in the file system. If I moved the file somewhere else, it would still break down, which is why the UID is going to be great as an alternative in 4.4. But yeah, this as a resource is seemingly not working the way I would expect it to. All of the children should have been initialized already. Get pressed button is not doing anything for us. Turns the current pressed button. We have a pressed button already. Yeah, this one's pressed. Bryson, if you move it through the Godot file manager, it's still killed from bacon. Yeah, that's what file system is. So file system is the Godot file system. Then like if I move it through File Explorer, which one does, everything breaks. So yeah, it's fine. But I'm gonna like the UID system because the UID system As long as you move the UID file with the base file, it'll keep all of the references valid. Cubist-dev, exporting a variable for the group might actually work to get the real same button group, or you tried disabling local scene. Exporting a variable for the group might actually work to get the real same button group. Okay. Trying to disable local to scene could also be cool. I thought local to scene is not enabled by default, but maybe I'm... Oh, it is. It is enabled by default. Let's try that. Ah, that did it. Having there just be one. The local to scene thing, yeah, I understand why that broke it, because we were trying to access a copy of the resource, not the resource itself. Cool. Good idea, Cubus. I don't know why I thought this was, the default of this was false. Why did I think that? The default is false? I don't know. This seems to indicate that the default is true, at least for button group. It is false for resource. Well, not according to this. For button group, it's overridden. Oh, okay. So my sense was correct, but button group is special. Okay, well, this is cool. I like this arrangement. It keeps it tight. We'll move this down to the palette, down to one of the palette objects whenever I decide who actually owns this. Because we have block palette, palette blocks, and then the actual palette blocks themselves. Or buttons representing the palette blocks. We'll probably call this like block palette, palette buttons, palette button instead of palette block. Palette block is the thing that's going to be referenced, and that's going to mean something else. But right now, we don't care. Maybe we put this in the block editor. I don't know. Or the palette. Because I guess when we load a palette, we'd want to do it. So we'll probably move that functionality later. But it works for right now. Cool. So now the palette works correctly when we run the scene. We can change focus if we want. Everything works fine. Love it. Love to see it. All right, let's do something more substantial. I don't know. I don't know if moving the dot import works. Usually if I'm moving a file like that, I like delete the dot import. But maybe I moved the dot import. But yeah, I don't know. There's an interesting article on it, Ryson, that they just posted to the Discord announcements. Let me link it for you. About it. We were looking at it before you came in. Adalock. Nice to meet you. Just subscribed. Thank you, Adalock. I really appreciate that. We're working on an FTL-like in Godot, as you probably know from reading the headline. We are on episode 128. We're on our special Power of 2 episode, which feels pretty good. I kind of wish our Power 2 episode had been yesterday, because yesterday's episode had such a good narrative arc to it. Like, 2 minutes before the end of the stream, we like solved the like crucial bug that was preventing everything from working. And now the new version of the auto tiler is working correctly here. Well, I say the crucial bug. It certainly wasn't the only bug. What we need to do is we need to add tile placement back so that we can start testing the comparisons. And then what we also need to do is add back the flood fill algorithm. We're trying to reach a state, a past glorious state that we had here with the old version of the auto tiler, where we could place tiles, place blocks, and have the auto tiler fill in all the information for us and calculate like what the hull types are. So like how the block should appear, calculate whether they're exposed. Sorry, my upstairs neighbor is vacuuming incredibly loudly. I don't know how you can vacuum loudly, like louder than normal. I think it's because it's hardwood. Hopefully only I hear this. Yeah. So yeah, we can do quite a lot here. Love to see it. The best feeling is ending a stream on a high note. Just heads up, Battlelocke, there's a bit of a delay on YouTube. Hey, the delay is mostly me. But yeah, I'm not demoing this very well, but it's this big auto tiler and flood fill system. And we changed a lot of our backend, so we're re-implementing it with our new backend. Ignore these. Ignore these errors. Is this a multi-stream? Yeah, we're also on Twitch. Twitch is a lot more responsive, but obviously the viewing quality is higher on YouTube, so, you know, pick your poison, I guess. If you want to just watch and lurk, I recommend YouTube. If you want to engage, it's a little better on Twitch. Adalock with the follow on Twitch. Thank you. Welcome aboard. Welcome. Thank you for the double follow here. The multi-follow. I really don't like that YouTube calls what Twitch calls follow. YouTube calls it subscribe. I guess YouTube got there first, so it's kind of Twitch's fault. Okay, so what we need to do, so we have eraser, hover, and select. What we need is place. So we need a new case. Case command.arg.place. Break. So place is going to be when we actually permanently assign a block to a position. For now, let's handle one placement at a time. We don't actually need this block replaced thing. All right, let's look at the Godot code for that. Do a close the recent file list. Adalock, subscribe with Prime. Welcome aboard. We just beamed you up. Yeah, at least with YouTube, you're also subscribing to any videos you post too. Might be a more valuable conversion depending on what you want. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I typically get more viewers on YouTube than Twitch. So, but the quality of viewership on Twitch seems to be like people are more engaged on Twitch is my feeling. Like they watch for longer and they're a little more engaged. So I don't know. I don't know what the difference is. I haven't done any video devlogs yet. I'm kind of waiting until I have like a Steam page or something up to do like a video, like a full devlog. Because those tend to be long-lived, and I would like to have a call to action in one if I bother to actually like film and edit one. So right now we're just doing live, but yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate the conversion either way, and I really appreciate the subscription on Twitch. Thank you for the Bezos bucks. So what do I want? I want this script. Give me this script. So this is our old system. This had a number of block placements. So this had This had two modes. This had, did we just press the place blocks button? Then we're starting a placement. Are we in the middle of a block placement? Okay, then we do this fairly involved check. And did we finish the block placement? In which case we finalize the blocks. And that combination of things is what lets us do cool stuff. Like, that lets us do this. The fact that as long as I have the mouse held down, we're like doing this thing. And it lets us do really cool tricks like this, like how I can just make a room. I honestly should have this auto-place the ceiling. Right now it doesn't currently auto-place the ceiling, but it probably should. The next version of this kind of tool. It's kind of auto-room tool. So I think we're not going to start with this because that's a little complicated. We're going to start with just single block placement. Because I think we need to iron out a few hull auto-tiler bugs that I think I spotted today that are subtle. Yeah, nothing to see behind the curtain. Adalock, how close are you to an alpha? Are you still designing the game or designing at the same time? I am very much a proponent of like iterative design. Like, we don't have a design doc. We've been working on this game in its current form for about a year, and how that's expressed itself is like we do a prototype, we learn some things, we do a new prototype, we learn some things, we do a new prototype, we learn some things. So we've been in that churn. I'd say we're just now starting to enter like more of a production mode where we've settled on our back end, which is like an entity component system I wrote. We've settled on a workflow as far as like the division of labor between rendering, simulation, input. So from a back-end standpoint, we're getting closer. But now that we have all these systems in place, once they're finished, we still need to figure out what's fun, right? And we'll have flexibility as far as that goes. So yeah, we're a while away from what I would call an alpha. I would like to get it done this year. I think we can get the minimum viable product out by like the end of the year and have like a single like ship-to-ship combat that's like playable. That's my goal. That's my goal for 2025 is like a one-on-one ship combat scenario. And then we can add all the more like roguelike RPG stuff or whatever, the more metagame strategy layer stuff later. But that's how I feel. And so we're 1 year into what I think is like a 6-year project, 5 or 6 year project. So, you know, early days. Early days. All right, so my neighbor upstairs has stopped vacuuming, but now both of their dogs are like in a fight to the death with, I presume, the vacuum. It sounds like they're winning. And they're just running back and forth. I like never want to have an upstairs neighbor ever again. I've never had one this disruptive before. And I don't think you can hear any of this, but I can, and it's making me insane. All right, so we're gonna do a place. When we do a place, we don't do a try preview block. We do something a little different than a try preview block. It's basically the same. So I think try preview block is like a special case of place block. It's a special case of place block in that our intention is not to place this entity. So let's look at the difference here. So here we have a preview block at, and so we set it to the tile block thing. And then what's the difference with a replace block at? So replace block at, this is our actual block placement. Fusionist. Hey, how's it going? Oh Lord, tell me about it. I just did. Adalock, no audio of dog death up here. Oh, I don't think the dogs are what died. I think the vacuum died. And the dogs were celebrating their victory over the vacuum. With like a chariot race, is what it sounded like. Like a funerary chariot race. Fusionist, your family with you got a family with 2 young kids above. Their curfew's 10 p.m. or something weird like that. Yeah, dogs don't have curfews. It's good. We're doing really well. I'm feeling really good about our progress so far this year. I know it's only been like 2 weeks, but we came out the gate screaming this year. How are you doing? Adalock, you like that mindset? You don't do a lot of game dev. You try to keep something similar with the software you write. You find it easier to design while you write code. Yeah, because unless you're doing something that you've exactly done before, I don't find a lot of advanced design super helpful. Like I do so much exploration during the development that I try to follow the handmade approach, which is like the first version of something should be simple. Because if you make the first version of something complicated, you don't know like what the requirements really are. You don't know how they're gonna change. Like there's all sorts of stuff. Like the initial implementation of something should be simple, and that's kind of the principle I'm trying to follow. To be fair, we're writing the second version of the auto tiler now, so we're getting a little more complicated. But we're gonna start simple. So I want to look at this. So tile blocks. So pending blocks. Pending blocks are blocks that are going to be permanently assigned to the thing. So when we finish a block placement, what happens to the pending blocks? We just clear it because we're happy with it. Okay. So maybe preview block is just a special case of replace block at. Well, let's start with that. So we're going to need we're going to say private bool try replace block at. All right, we got ads. Ads are going. I'm just plunking away. I don't really take breaks during the ads because I've still got the YouTube side and I gotta remain entertaining. But if anyone misses anything on the Twitch side while we're in ads, don't worry. I'm happy to go back over whatever. All right, so this is the same thing we always do, which is we grab the comp, we check to make sure that we're within bounds. If we are, we grab the buffer and get the index. Oh, we want to pass in the block that we're trying to place. I have it as a parameter for the more complicated block placements. So we're going to do that. We're going to say block.forms form or block. Say hidden blocks coords equals buffer index. So we hide it. Then we hide the block and then we assign a new block at index. If wow, this is exactly the same. The only difference is we have this pending blocks dictionary, which I actually haven't written yet. Pending blocks is going to be like this. Should we check the eraser mode? Where should we check the eraser mode? Probably before we call this. So let's just say we're just adding the block. I need to create this pending blocks. So we have active blocks, hidden blocks. Should we call it active blocks? These are like the blocks we're acting on. I don't know. I guess that's what we called it. What are you? A block? Oh, so... it's block. Oh. It's a little more complicated. Maybe it's just a block, not a block.form. And then here we say the buffer. So the try preview block is a little different. I'm going to leave it being a little different, and we're not going to worry about that. We're going to try to simplify it here. That should be it in terms of simplicity. All we're really doing is this active blocks thing. We store this so that we can do some undo stuff, I guess, maybe. I'm not sure that this is going to be useful with our new undo redo system, but let's store it for now. And then here we're just basically going to do the same thing we do here. Try reveal block at... Should we try to reveal the block? Is that similar? So when we do placement, this is a little complicated because this is when we try to do it in bulk. I'm asking about when we just do a regular one. Match active block type. If pending blocks doesn't have it, yeah. Replace it. Utility is inside. Erase. Okay, so this is how we clean up pending blocks when we're doing a click drag. We're not going to currently do a click drag. What we do need to do is we need to clean up the Godot input handler side of this a little bit. Input handler. Bear like lion. Hey, how's it going? How are you doing? Happy Wednesday. All right, so here, if the game state as string is edit, if action just pressed is going to be elif input elif input dot is action just pressed. Should this be sent to us by the game board and not pulled raw from the input handler? Like, should the game board detect if a hit has come down? Because that's currently what we're doing for the hover. So we've got mouse hover. Maybe we do a mouse click. What if we do like also like a func mouse click? Because I'd like to have this be as like event oriented as possible and less like just polling things every frame. So we would do something like match game dot status string. I kind of like this because this means we can interpret mouse clicks differently depending on the context. So like a mouse hover in the edit mode is like a preview block, but a mouse hover in play mode is like a show a tooltip. In the same way, mouse click in play mode is like select whatever's there, whereas mouse click in this in edit mode is like a place a block. Bear like lion, it's going well. You were up late working on your game last night. You got a ton done. You just finished up your big project for work and deploying it to staging for review. Hell yeah. I stayed up really late last night working on my stuff too. I did not get very much done. We can talk about what I did. I was like looking forward. Oh, nothing to see here behind the curtain for when I said to ignore the error messages. Yeah, we get a few thousand harmless warnings when we run our old visibility cutaway system. Something to do with it becoming upset about modulating individual tile cells is what I've nailed it down to, which we're not going to do going forward. We're just going to not send the tile data instead of modulating the tile data. Yeah, I can show you kind of what we're dealing with. I'm thinking more about tile sets and creating blocks for tile placement, like for more complicated tile blocks. Because right now we just have a cube, but I want like shapes. And so I'm thinking about the workflow for creating the shapes. Let me finish writing this out. Game.enqueue input. You got all your bugs crossed off your to-do list and rewrote your water shader? Hell yeah. You do your own water shader? That's awesome. I just use the Just Codes water shader whenever I need a pixel water shader. The Just Codes one is so good, and it works with Godot, Unity, whatever. So edit, cool, place, chords, view. If it's view, we'll deal with that right now. At the moment, if someone passes in a view, a click for the view, we're just gonna pass. But eventually we'll have a select. Maybe it would be like game dot enqueue input. I guess it wouldn't be view. The game state, view is not a game state. So what am I talking about? Is this like default? I guess this is play. And it's a view command. And then here it would be play. And this would be like input, play, select, chords, array. Something like that. Very like Lion, you did not. You took one off GitHub, combined it with another you found in the asset lib. It looks right. Yeah, share a link for sure. I don't know if you're in the Discord, but also you can always share stuff in the Discord. We have a where it's picking up over there, and I really enjoy everyone sharing their work and hanging out. Really good group of people. The water comparison is in the replies. Okay. Let me quickly go ahead and give you a follow. I'm on B-Sky. I'm not active yet. I don't want to do the thing where I just post my go live notifications. I want to do more like screenshot Saturday kind of stuff on B-Sky, but I haven't had the opportunity yet. I feel like once our tile system works a little more, I'll start recording GIFs and like posting them to B-Sky. You've spent many hours working on a new water shader. You still managed to get your to-do to none. Look at all these. Look at all these to-dos. You must be so productive compared to me. I'm like very much an anti-to-do list person, unless I'm working under a tight deadline. All right, here's the old water. This is still nice. This is still nice. It's simple but nice. And then new water. Holy shit. Do you see this, chat? This is insane. Is this like hooked up to physics? Like, is this like a waveform that you can actually use for like collisions? Like, is this like a collision mesh? Or is this just visual? UM and UM not. I presume you mean like active on B-Sky or something. Oh, productive. Ah, yeah, we were talking about being productive. Just visual for now? That's cool. Um, that's amazing. This is so good. I know there's some like incredible new like Unity tools for doing stuff like this. This is like way outside of my comfort zone. So good. This is so great. I love Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves probably has the best water system in gaming. For at least interactive, for like water that affects gameplay. Sea of Thieves is incredible. That's so cool. Thank you for sharing that. Bear like lion, you're productive because you're not productive. You need to keep lists, etc. Otherwise, you forget and fall behind for sure. I mean, I'm taking the advantage of the fact that this is like I do this like in between my regular work day. So I just do what I can. Sometimes I stay up too late doing what I can. But I try to just do the work as best I can in the time that it takes to do it. But I have been there where you're operating under a deadline and you're like, that's when I'll bust out the to-do list. If you have a finite slice of time and you're like, I need to do all of this in a finite slice of time, then to me it makes sense to look at the endpoint, calculate how much you have to do, and see if you can even get there. Like, that's my game jam strategy. Like, I would never start a game jam without being like, this is what I want to do. How long do I think it would take to do it? Reevaluate like every day or like multiple times a day to see if I'm on track. But yeah, for my main project, I'm just like, I don't know, I guess we're doing this now. Maybe it takes 2 days, maybe it takes 2 weeks. Like, I think I have to do that on the. I'm not making any judgments. I'm just like internal monologuing about my own process and like how it could maybe be better. You found a GitHub repo with that water? You got it to generate an infinite plane? Sick. This is the repo you used? Oh, this is Godot too. That's so dope. Inverse Fourier transform of directional ocean wave spectra for wave generation. Insane. You can modify it scriptably in real time. That's pretty cool. As soon as you start throwing down like French and German names, you were like beyond my level of like mathematics and programming. As soon as the French and Germans come into it, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about anymore. It's so cool. But I'm like a caveman when it comes to this stuff. This looks really great. Oh my god, formulas. I guess formula is already like plural. I don't know. Formulae. Acerola is coming to Godot, by the way. Another shader wizard is going to do great stuff, especially since they're aiming for the new composite shaders. Yeah, I don't know what that is. Acerola. There seems to be a number of things. I'm going to look up Acerola shaders. Is this a person? Or like... Tell me more, Cubus. Yes, the YouTuber? Oh, okay, well, I wish I didn't go around with that Acerola shaders. Is this like a big shader YouTuber? Oh, they moved to Godot? They're moving to Godot this year? Oh, this is like a power user. This is gonna be a great person coming over to the Godot scene. This is gonna be awesome. This person seems really good. Shader, master of shaders here. I'm gonna give that a subscribe. Okay, I'm excited to see more of that for sure. Yeah, we need more like ace graphics programmers moving from Unity to Godot for sure. That's gonna be awesome. That's cool. I wonder what John uses. I wonder what Irish John uses for their ocean stuff. For their pirate game in Unity. All right, so if we do a mouse click, we get an edit tool place chords. So we interpret the mouse click depending on game state. Let's go to the block, the board, not the block, the board. Go to the board. Do I see mouse click? Oh, input handler is disabled. So what did we do here? Where are we triggering the mouse hover from? Ah, here we go. So in process, we're checking the mouse chords. Should we have like an unhandled input or something? So that we can consume the input in UI first. So we should have like a func like unhandled input. Then we could say event dot is action pressed. Is action pressed is good because then we can handle multi-frame inputs. Hunter, hey, how's it going? On the YouTube side over there. Acerola is the shader goat. That's what I'm getting. I'm gonna watch some of their videos later. I'm gonna watch their switching to Godot video for sure. I just to get hyped for 2025. Action. Oh, here's the weird thing. We're gonna say place blocks. This way people can rebind their controls if they want, I guess. If event is action pressed, and then we'll just say, oh, we want an if. If event is action pressed, then we want input handler. So we want if is event and mouse chords. Well, no. We can't do a check of both mouse chord. We can say if event is... No, because that doesn't work. Okay, we're just going to do this. Mouse click. This doesn't exactly what I want to do. So here's why I don't use input events. Input events has is action pressed. What the input events doesn't have is action just pressed. So I don't know. Or does it? Is that actually a thing that it has? I didn't think it, no, it doesn't have this. Or does it? No, it doesn't. Event, input event. Is action pressed and is action released. They don't have is action just pressed, which is, I really want. Allow echo, exact match. Yeah, I kind of don't want to do it this way, even if it's better for input stuff. We're just going to say if input dot is action just pressed. Well, if we're doing it like this, if we're going to poll is action just pressed, we're not going to do the mouse click thing that I suggested, I think. You think allow echo false is just? I don't think that's true, but you might be right. Allow returns true if the given action is being pressed and is not an echo event for input event key events, unless allow echo is true. Not relevant for types of event, mouse motion, or event. Okay, maybe. Input event key. Input event for keys on a keyboard. So this is not a mouse input. I mean, I want to support people interacting with the game on a keyboard, like with like focus and like just mouse and like keying around, but I also need to support mouse input. Mouse. I don't know. We can try it. We can try it. See what it does. If you remember correctly, an echo is what follow-up events after the initial press are. Okay, let's try it. Let's try it. It's what I would like to do. So let's be optimistic. Let's do what I would like to do. And just do that and start with that. And if it doesn't work out, let's not try to guess. So here it would be is action pressed. Allow echo bool is false. Allow echo is false by default, Cubus. Mouse doesn't have echo. Yeah, I don't think it does. Ryson, you could use the unhandled input lifecycle hook. I mean, I'm calling the unhandled input, Ryson. What do you mean with that? What's the unhandled input lifecycle hook? Yeah, that's what I want to use, but the problem is I don't know if I can distinguish between an action that has been just pressed and an action that's being pressed and held down. No, yeah, no worries. I'm sure I wasn't being clear about what I was trying. So doing it this way has the benefit of inputs can be consumed by the UI before we get here. So that's good. We could be scuffed and just do this. We could discard the event and then just do input dot is action pressed. I mean, place blocks is a sustained interaction, so that's probably fine. So maybe a select is also a sustained interaction. So for like boxing, like click drag. So maybe instead of calling it mouse click, maybe we call it like mouse click drag. Let's do it. Let's do it this way. Mouse held. Yeah, mouse held is good too. Mouse click maybe just has like a state. Like, is mouse already clicked and then it becomes a drag? Like, I don't know. Maybe we start with mouse click and then interpret state to determine whether it's a drag. Yeah, let's do that. That's fine. So we can say input handler dot mouse click. how do we get them the coordinates? We need to do this calculation. Upstairs neighbor's back to vacuuming again. Ryson, you were reluctant to make a bool guard, then set it to false when there was a release event. I'm not reluctant to do that. I'm just not really doing all the processing here. Like, I don't want the game board to be, like, making determinations about input as much as possible. I want it to just notice that something happened, pass it on. Like, it's just about, like, where we put the state. So mouse coords is area line layer. Yeah. How do we get the area line layer, though? Line layers, area line layer. Highest visible area, get child 0. So we do need to do that. We need to do this whole thing. We should probably just have a function called, like, map coords. Does event have a location attached to it? Event. Or do I just need to pull the mouse position? It does not. Okay, so I'll just pull the mouse position. So in that case, we can just have a function called, it's an internal function. It's going to be map coordinates, map mouse coordinates. We're going to take coordinates. It's going to be a vector 3. We'll say position. Oh, we'll say pause. We'll say coords. We'll do all of this. It's not a func, it's going to return a vector 3i. Say return. Mouse coords, mouse position, to local coords. Mouse position not declared. We're not using it there. We use this multiple times? No. So we're just going to say variable mapped coords is map mouse coordinates, get global mouse position. Position. Cubist you always cast var click as an event. Var click event is input event mouse button. Okay, so I get sent an input event. And I presume I would get more information from an input event mouse button. So you're saying you cast the event to a click, or Ryson? Yeah, you get not wanting to have to do it that way if there is a way to check for a one-shot event. Yeah. Yeah, I prefer to do an event if I can rather than just per every frame polling something. Yeah, it's every single type of event. Okay, so I could say And if it's an input, so we could say after casting will either be that type or null. We could say variable click is event as input mouse event mouse button. And so what additional information do I have here? We have the button index. Okay. But also the position. Nice. Yeah, as long as it has the position here, which it does not. Mouse move also has position, but also the position. Oh, so it inherits from input event mouse, and input event mouse has a global position. Okay, love that. Love that for us. All right. That's great, because I'd rather not just get the global mouse position. Why is this unhappy? Invalid argument for mouse coordinates should be vector 3, but is vector 2. Oh, yeah, obviously it should be a vector 2. Let's call this mouse position. Call this mouse coords. Prior coords is a vector 2i. Oh, it says it returns a 3i. We want a 2i. Vector 2i. Y. Oh, block volume dot highest visible area number. Okay. So that is a 3i. So you're a 3i. I don't know what this is unhappy about down here. Let's work our way down. Cannot assign a value of vector 2i to variable mouse coordinates specified. What? Three I. Where am I saying 2i? Oh, 2. No, that's right. Oh, but it pumps out a 3. There we go. My need for static type definitions is slowing me down. Ryson, if event is event mouse button, maybe check to see if the event is a mouse button event first. I mean, if the event is an action, if the event is this action, we know it's a mouse button. I guess that's not true. You're right, that might not be true. Someone might rebind this to not be a mouse button. All right. Once you casted, you can then null check. Yeah, okay. So what we could do is we could say, here we go. Yeah, I'd rather not do a check. So what we'll do, instead we'll say click is that. we'll say variable mouse position is click dot global position if click is not equal to null, else get global mouse position. So we have a backup. So ideally we would like to use the mouse position from the action. If we don't, we have a backup. This seems fine, right? Also, you just need a different branch for that, being not a click, but edge case for later. Just don't let them use mouse. I don't know. We need the mouse position no matter what. Oh, no, maybe we don't. Maybe we don't. Maybe if... I'm trying to be respectful and, like, maybe we have, like, a keyboard-only person who wants to... Because if it's a turn-based game, keyboard-only should be acceptable. But, yeah, that would be way more complicated. Not way more complicated, but we need to define focus. I don't know. This seems stupid to me. We could define a cursor. We could define a mouse cursor. And the cursor could follow around, like, whatever the focus tile is. And we could have the cursor accessible by, like, D-pad or keyboard. Yeah, but not now. Yeah, Cubus, you're right. We're going to presume mouse information. We'll just have this for now so that we always get a mouse position no matter what. We'll say to do support keyboard input. Support keyboard or remove requirement for mouse position. Support keyboard. Support tiles focused by key input. I don't know, something like that. We'll try to support a keyboard input only. We'll put that as a do later. Call a get focused position and leave it stubbed for now to do improve accessibility support. Yeah, I don't know. For now, I'm just defending against the possibility of rebinding the key or the rebinding this. And but the thing is, this is not actually, I think, what I want. Because the whole point about this is we actually want to match a number of action pressed. Because, like, I also want to be able to handle select. And it's all just going to mouse click on the input handler. I don't know. We'll probably have a match statement with like multiple cases that all lead to the same behavior or something like that. Doesn't matter right now. But yeah, I see a number of ways we can. This should work for our purpose, for our current purposes. And here, because yeah, this we need something a little different. Because I really like interpreting general input, but this is probably not the right thing to do. For hover, it made sense, but doing it this way is kind of silly. But who cares? Let's go back to the C# side of things. What's going on here? Do I define coords multiple times? I have two definitions of coordinates here. Hover in place might have the same behavior. Well, no, it doesn't, because instead of pre-blue block, we say replace, try replace block at coords. I feel like I could get try preview block at, and I feel like I could get rid of this. The only real difference is this buffer that I'm not sure I actually want to use. But let's not mess around with it right now. We need to change these names. Hover coords. I'm really tempted to start just using snake case for local variables. I keep like coming back from GDScript and enjoying them. Place. Yeah, I'm having a hard time not using them. Oops. Carlos, hi team. What are we doing? We're working on a tile editing tool, an isometric tile editor for a game I'm working on. That's kind of like FTL Fast and Light. It's like an isometric version. Kind of looks like this. So we're coming up with tools to create the structures, the 3D structures of the ships, because I'm not drawing them by hand like FTL did. How's it going? How are you doing today? Happy Wednesday, etc. All right, so we need to say I'm gonna say block. Oh, this is complicated. So placing a block, replacing a block. Okay. We actually need to do this annoying eraser thing. We're gonna remove this for now because I actually don't see how to implement that cleanly yet. So what we're going to say is block equals this deal. Try to make this readable. Yeah, whatever. Single line is fine. It's a little confusing, but I know what it's doing. Greetings from Chile. Oh, awesome. What brings you around? Are you doing some Godot game dev too? I'm always excited to hear what people are working on. So, but handler exists. I hate having to check that like every time. I want to run this thing. Feel like this isn't going to work, but let's see what's going on. Okay. I'm clicking. Nothing's happening. No errors per se. Um, let's see where this command is not where this command is failing to reach. Carlos, you're starting with game development, currently creating a GDD. Nice, nice. What kind of game are you thinking of? Okay, so the command is not reaching here. So is our command structure wrong? So when the command reaches this, we get... So it comes in here as tool. Should probably have a check to make sure that the commands that come in here are tool commands. I have that check elsewhere in other systems like this. Expected tool got this instead. See if we're sending the command with the wrong level here. So we're encoding it as edit tool place coords. Yeah, that should be fine. Right. Place block at boards. See, we're trying to see where the commands are not. Okay, so the command is not even reaching this mouse click. So the board is not sending this. So do I not have the place blocks command set up correctly? Left button, left mouse button, all devices. Okay. Print event. Okay, we got the event. Oh no, we didn't. We got this key code event. Uh, Something's eating the input. We're not receiving events here. Or we're not receiving a mouse button event. Maybe this doesn't need to be on the board. Maybe the input handler could handle this, could take care of this directly. Ask if input handler dot is action pressed place blocks print, I don't know, place me at mouse chords. Non-existent function is action pressed in base node input. What? Where are we? Oh, input dot is action pressed. I'm an idiot. Okay, so this is happening. This is action. But for some reason, we're not even getting it in unhandled input. Like I say, print the event. This input event. It's not coming through. It's being taken. That's annoying. If I did this really low level, like if I did this at the level of the tile map layers, that would not be meaningfully different than just doing it at the game board level. At least not for place blocks. Okay, so we have a bit of a mystery. Our input is being eaten somewhere, and it's not propagating. Do I need to set something? Do I need some kind of like mouse pickable characteristic? No, that doesn't make sense because we're processing the input just as an input event. Not a mystery. It's always some full screen control. Ah, you mean this full screen control? So there's got to be some button for what to do with the mouse. Ah, filter, stop, pass, right? So like if we don't use it, it just passes. Stop. The controller will receive mouse button input events and mouse button inputs if clicked on through GUI input. The controller will receive the mouse entered and mouse exited signals. These events are automatically marked as handled and they will not propagate further. Pass. The controller will receive mouse button input and blah, blah, blah. If this control does not handle the event, the parent control, if any, will be considered, and so on, until there is no more parent control to potentially handle it. It's also allows signal to fire on other nodes. Okay. Yeah. We needed the pass. But all of these will eat the mouse inputs, won't they? Are these all taking inheriting this from here? Or is this just the default? I want to change this back. See how this changes these children. No, these are all pass by default. Pass by default. Stop by default, which is fine. I actually want the buttons themselves to be stop. Pass by default. Okay, so we just need to change the parent. I'm so bad with control nodes. No, but they all have slightly different defaults. I love that. I love that for me. Most are pass, but normal control has stop, which is weird. Yeah, that is weird. Debug tab, debugger tab. Okay, so debugger tab. We're learning from Cubase here. Debugger tab. Top, misc. Click control type, control. Cool. Okay. I'm going to start looking here. Next time I find my inputs are getting eaten. I like hardly use this thing. I need to use this way more. I find their debugger quite good. I tend to default to the writer one for nowadays, but I like the Godot one just fine. Click something and see it change. Cool. Is it running in the editor? Or should I run the project, click something, then like go back to the editor? Didn't change anything. I don't know. Nothing eating it anymore. Love to see it. Where's the console? Here's the console. Okay, yeah, we're printing our inputs. We're getting all our inputs. Cool. Tight. Let's get rid of all of the various prints that we scattered about everywhere, trying to understand what was happening. We're still not. So place block at 495, place with a capital P, place block at 495. So we have the lowercase one, which is probably here. Okay, so we're getting that. So it's getting through there. And then we have an uppercase debug, which is this one. So we're getting through here. So we're doing all of this. However, this is not doing what I'm expecting it to do. We're not actually writing to the buffer. I mean, I see us writing to the buffer right here. But that change does not seem to be permanent. Probably has something to do with hidden blocks. I guess if we place a block, we actually don't want to load hidden blocks. Remove that. Get rid of the hidden blocks thing. Now we should be able to place a tile. Okay, now we can place a tile. The auto tiler is not working though. And I can't click and drag, which is fine. Oh, this is interesting. What's going on here? Oh, we're replacing. That's not what I want to do. Actually, no, that is exactly what I want to do, huh? Based on this. I mean, that's like maybe not intuitive, but that's like literally what I'm telling it to do. Here we have the auto tiler behaving weirdly, which is interesting. At least it's trying to do something. It's checking its neighbor and making the wrong kind of decision. I mean, like maybe this button doesn't make sense because placing a cube, well, no, placing a cube block does not require there to be a floor. Not strictly. So yeah, it's kind of unintuitive that this exists and behaves like this, like it erases the floor beneath it, but it's like technically correct. All right, and now I need to figure out why the auto tiler is not working. The outlining is not being adjusted. Probably the problem is likely up here in the hull modification stuff, in the hull analysis, where we see what kind of hull types we're dealing with, because we're changing. So when we're in the wall here, and we notice that our opposite block, so if the opposite block is not empty, and if our layer axis is not Z, and if the opposite block is a bulk, then we're a middle hull. That's technically correct, but I feel like we're using the adjacent block, not the opposite block. That's like what feels like it's happening. 1, 1, 1. No, these are correct. These are the correct coordinates for the opposite block. This seems wrong. So if we're an X face, our adjacent faces are Y1. So if we're an X face, our neighbors are X1 and X minus 1, right? Not Y1. No, it is Y1 and Y minus 1. Right, okay. Because an X face is facing along the X axis, so its neighbors are plus Y1 and minus Y1. Okay. I see. Okay. So that's all correct. And we ripped that straight out of the old auto tiler, so I don't know why that's not working. This door stuff does not apply, so we don't need to worry about that. Maybe it's not, maybe placing blocks shouldn't be exclusive. So placing a wall over a deck should probably just leave the deck. It's probably how that should work. Placing a bulk. That's probably fine. So when we're doing this, what we should say here instead, when we're doing our tool placement, is we should do an OR. So we should say block. If block is not eraser mode, then we use our active block tool. Well, here it should be, is our active block tool a block or a form? Okay, the active block tool is the deck. So when we swap these, we need to make a new one. So when we swap the tools, it needs to be, so active block tool is a new block. It should be face is the string. It should be form, so it should be form or active block tool dot form dot form. So we should be adding to it. No, that's not right. Not here. It should be down here. So we should say block. I need to do something different with eraser. I need to have like a try erase block at. I need to pull the eraser out of this and make it its own function. Private bool try erase block at. I need to do that. Return true. Well, return false because you're not implemented. So instead of doing this eraser check, we're just going to say get rid of all this shit. We're going to say buffer is going to be the active block tool with form. I'm having mixed feelings about this. What I'm about to do does not work once we start placing doors. Because if you place a wall, you don't want to place a wall like literally over the door and leave the door. You only want to do that with the floors. So I feel like what I should do is change how my tool works a little bit with regard to that. Or maybe not. Maybe it works exactly as it should. I still want to break out the eraser stuff into a different function. Still just active block tool. I don't actually need to do a lot of this. I really don't want these to be individual calls. I mean, try preview block is probably going to be an individual call most of the time until the palette supports palettes of more than one block, which I do eventually want to support. I eventually want to change this. So like try replace blocks. It should be try replace blocks plural. Like we should be attempting to do a, there should be try replace block at, which is like the one off. But I want try replace blocks in and pass in an AABB. I want to start doing this as in batch because we're grabbing a span to make one change to the buffer. And I would rather make multiple changes to the buffer in one go. Or we set up this function to take a buffer as a parameter and we set this stuff up outside somewhere. And we pass the buffer in. I want to make it cheaper to do these calls. It doesn't really matter, but I mean, it doesn't matter yet, but I'm thinking about that. What we really need to address, though, is the auto tiler is not changing the outline. Navaldo, why to use C#? GD script is so much more simple. Yeah, we're still using GD script. We're using GD script for the nodes, for everything that's like a control or a node or whatever. So like stuff that's rendering, like we have tile maps and we have controls. For the rendering and the UI stuff, we're still using GD script, but we have a simulation layer that is that's different. We're using a simulation layer that's in C# for a number of reasons. I remember I told Bear Like Lion I was going to talk about all the A-Sprite stuff we did yesterday, or I did last night, and then I didn't do it. Oops. Then I got distracted. Oh well, maybe next time. I still need to cook a little bit longer on it. I haven't decided how I want to do that stuff yet. Some of the more complicated tile set stuff. Gotcha. Yeah, no worries. We ended up going off the deep end because we kind of have a simulation heavy game. And so I ended up making an entity component system in C#, like a really bare bones entity component system. It's really simple. But it lets us have really lightweight simulation objects instead of everything needing to be backed by a node or a resource. The only things that end up being nodes are things that we need to render. So we have a system now for packing tile map data and sending it over to the tile maps. But we do all the calculations for it here on the simulation side. It's a little faster. It utilizes this entity component system. It's cool. It's a little overkill for what we're trying to do, but I dig it. But yeah, thanks for hanging out, asking questions. How was your day going? I'm not using this. All right, so why is the auto tiler literally not doing anything? What's the default tile partition? Is it 0? Or it's not the tile, it's the block. What's the default block partition? Is it -1? No, it's 0. Huh. Excuse me. Okay, I'm a little perplexed. Our auto tiler is not doing like the one thing it's supposed to do, which is determine the hull types of the tiles and render them appropriately. And I wonder where that's happening. I mean, something's happening here. There's something here, but op block does not have the form of a door, so that shouldn't matter. This is being triggered for the wall, or no, not this. Yeah, this is the only place that we're setting a middle hull that's going to get triggered if the op block is empty. If the op block is not empty, we just check to see if or if the op block is empty, we just check to see if this block is outside or not. That's should be what we want to know. Am I doing something stupid like reassigning this somewhere? The floor is literally not doing anything. We're not doing any kind of outline reduction, which is weird. Again, we have all this special logic for doors that we don't need at the moment. So it's just these cases, really. Oh, so this is for Z, which is not doing anything. Else if buffer index dot has a block, then yeah, we're a middle. Otherwise, if we're outside. So I think the hulls are mostly being set correctly. There's definitely a problem with the walls somewhere. Something about this. If opposite block has a bulk, then we're a middle. Yeah, but opposite block is buffer, comp, get position index, opposite position. Opposite position is our relative position plus the opposite block for this layer axis. Oh, this is being turned back into an absolute position. Why? Then we're doing that again. That can't be right. I think I'm doing something wrong there. Go to the wall layer. The wall layer. Here, opposite coordinates is relative to absolute, the relative coordinates plus the opposite block. No, so this is exactly the same thing that we have here. So we get the relative coordinates, and then for the opposite coordinates, we take the relative coordinates, add the opposite block. Then convert it back to absolute, which makes sense because we're indexing into the buffer, and the buffer stores everything in absolute coordinates. Which is actually a good word for this now. It didn't used to be, but since the buffer stores everything in positive integer coordinates, it's actually kind of great. That what used to be an inaccurate way of referring to it, but now it's accurate. And then relative is relative to the view, the camera view. This is for setting the floor type, which we can skip. Oh, we're thinking up here. Did I write this incorrectly up here? Opposite chords relative to absolute. Ship tile blocks that has opposite coordinates. If we're not Z, opposite block is the opposite coordinate block. Forget doors. Otherwise, if it's a bulk, the opposite block is a bulk, then we're a middle layer. This is all correct, but it's giving us the wrong behavior, so that's fun. I think my instinct is that there's something going wrong in most of these cases with the atlas coord thing, where we're setting the atlas coordinates. For each adjacent face and adjacent faces, tile.position. These are relative positions, plus the adjacent face. The adjacent face is also a relative position. Hulls are being stored in relative position. Okay, that's correct. Tile.position plus adjacent face. Adjacent face is not equal to hull. Continue. Okay. Yeah, because we don't want to do anything if that's the case. Hulls, try and get value. Tile position plus adjacent face. Adjacent face is a vector 3. Yeah. Why aren't we checking up or down with this? Because we're doing it in a different pass. We're doing that. We're checking up or down here. Because you're checking your own bulk. When do you check the tile below you? You have to do that at some point. Atlas coords. Well, we're not checking the tiles above and below us for some reason. I don't know why I didn't write that in there, but we're not doing it. That would be somewhere around here. So this is we're checking our own floor type. This, we're doing that. Is that sufficient? Is that really sufficient? This is really weird. I think we're going to need to scrutinize some of the tile data again. I need to see if we're actually recording the correct information or not. I don't have a ton of faith that we are. Debug, right line, tiles, key. All right, so once I placed that, okay, so we're Atlas coord 0 all the way, no matter what. How is that true? So we have two faces at 2.5. Okay, let's see. Let's go to the bottom. So here we have a face at 8.9, a face at 8.9, a face at 8.9. 2 in layer 0, 2 in layer 1, 2 in layer 2. Source ID 88, source ID 4848. Oh, because one's a floor and one's a ceiling, right? Alice chord 00. But alt tile 1? What is this? What is this 48 doing? All right, let's look at the tile sets. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Middle floor side. So the Y side is being set to a middle floor. That's correct. Okay, so that's correct. So that hole is being set correctly. 5, 6, 7, 8. And then this one's set to an inner. Okay, so that's correct on that side. Let's do that again, testing the other side. Let's test the X side. So we do this and we do this. And we go see what we get. So here, 4, 8 on the X side. Cool. But we're not getting any Atlas chord modification. Okay, so that's almost certainly the problem. Why is that happening? Atlas chords is getting reassigned all the time, is one thing, but we define it in the loop as vector 2i.0. Every single one of these paths, we reassign this. So Atlas chords could be x equals Atlas chords dot x plus increment. Increment is either 2 or 1. So no matter what, well, I guess if we don't find any adjacent is not equal to hull. What's adjacent? That's the hull that we're spitting out here. So tile.position, vector 2, plus the adjacent face, which is a vector 3. How are we storing these? Position key. Is position key a vector 3? Position key is a vector 4. Oh, shit. Okay. No, we're querying the dictionary with a bunch of garbage. Okay. So it's actually tile position. It's actually more complicated than that. So we're iterating through each tile, each key and keys. So hulls try get value. It's actually key plus adjacent face. Oops. Oopsies. I was giving it an incomplete key. I should probably call this position key or something. Because I call it position key up here. No Jewel redeem maximum warp. Hey No Jewel, how's it going? How was your stream today? All right, well that's something. We were checking the wrong. We were digging in the wrong place. So we were doing that, and we were just continuing every time, and we were never checking our neighbors. The only thing we were possibly doing was this. Okay, so let's try that now. Let's see what we get here in terms of value. All right, here we go. Watch those outlines disappear. All right, GG. You love to see it. Yeah, this is not... I feel like this is not what people would expect. So maybe I treat this as a special case. I don't know. I need to make the block placement non-exclusive under some circumstances. A bit slower than with the jump start last time, but you made some progress with your code. Hell yeah. Some progress is all you need sometimes. Great. Oh, what is that? Okay, there's something weird there and here. Okay, so that hasn't been addressed. Whatever's going on with the wall there, there's some funky stuff, but the floors are working perfectly, including the floor's interaction with the walls. The walls are fighting each other a little bit, and I think I have some idea why. Okay, so the walls are fighting us. Where is the fight happening though? It sounds like at least some of it is happening here in the hull setting. So we're setting our hulls, which is like the color associated with the block. And we have rules for this. We're not observing all the rules because we haven't set up our flood fill algorithm yet. So if the layer is not equal to z, so this is the block that we're in, where we see the problem. Bot block has door, so we skip this. We're running into a problem with this, where this is being triggered incorrectly. So else if op block has block.forms.bulk hull equals hull middle. This is being set inappropriately in at least the case where the x faces y neighbor exists. That's its adjacent neighbor, not its opposite. That's its adjacent block, not its opposite block. But opposite position here is still just relative position, absolute position, turn clockwise to the game view angle. That gets us the relative position. Relative position plus op block, integer layer axis. Am I calculating the layer axis wrong again? I am. It's not layer divided by 2. We did this last time. Damn it. It's layer minus 3. I had that same issue somewhere else in the code. All right. Let's see if the walls are playing nicely now. Okay, now they are. What about for that? Yep. All right, sweet. We did it. We're getting outlines. What if let's make these floors. And what if I place some walls beneath? Okay, we're getting that too. Cool. The system thinks all... Well, why is it giving it the interior look for everything when our parts are 0? That's a little suspicious. We should be seeing the dark gray colors for everything. Oh, what the F is this? Why is the floor being rendered under the... What? We're ignoring the area somehow. Okay, let's figure that out. That's crazy weird. Let's check to make sure that's not an error with just the way that we set up the z indexing of the areas. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. 0, 1. No, what? Where are my z indexes? There it is. 0, 2. Oh, okay, because we're making it 2. This can't actually increment 1 by 1. What does it do here? It doesn't increment 1 by 1. It increments, what, 2 by 2 or something? 0, 4, 8. Okay, it jumps up by 8. That makes sense. Or 4. It jumps up by 4. Ah. So we need to also jump up by 4. So 0, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. That should work now. That was super weird. I was like, why is the floor below this why is the wall below this floor rendering above the everything on this layer? Doesn't really matter what we draw. We just need to draw a floor there, draw a wall down here, and then like see what we get. Okay, well, I'm very pleased that the auto tiler is working again, just as well as it did before. We're very close to getting feature parity with our old tile map editor. Okay, the drawing is now correct. Okay, beautiful. I need to get the click drag going. I need to get the drag placement going so we can draw out shapes. We might not get to all of that today, but maybe we will. Well, we probably won't, but we'll keep, we got some more, we got a bit more to do. Okay, cool. So the Z indexing works. I don't know how I messed that up. You got to end every stretch with the Picard maneuver where you just tug on the front of your sweater, get all the wrinkles out of it. Not as impressive as the Riker maneuver. What am I doing right now? We could either keep working on the block replacement or work on the flood fill. Let's keep working on the block replacement. Maybe we'll do the flood fill stuff tomorrow. I need to increase the information in my system names. So try replace block at. I want like a special case. I guess what we actually want to do is the way I did this in Godot is so the way I did this in Godot is we tell when you start a placement, you start recording information. So we say action starts at these coordinates. Action ends at these coordinates. And then as the action continues, we just take the new set of mapped coordinates. We make that the new endpoint. We hold on to the initial start point, and that forms like an AABB of a kind. It forms a volume. And we just keep recalculating the minimum and maximum points. Because you can change the polarity or whatever of it by like overlapping across the start point and going the other way. And so whatever. So we determine the end and the start points. We say for Z in range. Well, here I'm just brute force operating, going over the entire volume, which seems really stupid considering we have another volume that we've just defined. I don't know why I'm operating over the whole ship volume. And then we ask, oh man, I'm doing so much stuff. Why am I doing it this way? I guess we're doing that. We're iterating over the whole ship volume because we want to account for when you drag across to include a block, but then you drag back and that block is now no longer included. And so you want to erase it. We could just make a new. So we could take this volume, make a new active, basically remake the whole active ship list every frame. Instead of iterating over the whole ship volume, you just iterate over every ship in the active, or every block in the active block list, which is any block that's been subject to this action. And if the block is no longer in this volume, we take it out. That could work. But anyway, we go through, we figure out what the block type is. This part is my fun trick. This is where I do my fun trick where I like lay out a whole room. Like I lay out the floor in the middle and I lay out walls around the edges. And I want to re-implement that, but let's not start with that because that's a little complicated. Not very complicated, but it's certainly more complicated than the basic case. We're just going to do this. So what we do here is we basically say, okay, so for any ship block, if the ship block is not in the pending blocks list, which we now call the active block list, If it's not already in here, and it's inside this action zone, I guess I could call it zone. I like volume because volume is like definitively 3D, but zone is kind of cool because zone is kind of like not locked down to a particular dimensionality. I mean, it's spatial, so it's probably like, oh no, I guess it's not because you have a zone of control. I don't know. Zone is good. Maybe I should start using that word instead of getting preoccupied with areas and volumes and stuff. So if we say it's inside this point, this set of points, then we replace the block here. If it's not, we get it out of this pending block list. And we reveal the block that was underneath because now it's no longer covered. But the trick is I'm just calling this function one-off for every single block in this area or volume. Because this could be greater than, you could start an action and start going up layers to like, and you could end up making a 3D placement, which is probably how I make, well, it's probably not how I make rooms. I probably do that for you if you're making a room. I'll just automatically make the ceiling above you if I can tell you're making a room. But if someone wants to do something manually, I don't understand what the case would be of trying to make, I guess you could make a room that you want to be more than one level high. Like you're making a cargo hold, so you start the selection on the bottom level, and then you drag across, and then you drag up one, because you want the cargo hold to be 2 levels high. I guess that's a use case for having the action area to actually be a volume and not an area. But that's when we get to here. That's when we get to the more advanced use case. We're gonna do the simple use case for now. Same with the door. I also kind of don't want to be able to click drag doors. I guess I do, but I only want you to be able to click drag a door in one direction. Maybe I do this thing. Maybe I do the thing that TileMap has, because TileMap has this cool button thing. It has these modes. It has selection, it has paint, it has line and rect and bucket. I don't know about bucket, but I bet we could implement paint, line, and rect. I might call paint like spot instead though, because it's just one spot, like spot, line, and rect or something like that. Implement a picker as well. There's some cool stuff we can do. I definitely want to make this editor very, very, very good to use, because it's how I'm going to make all the ships. But let's start with doing this volume selection thing. So the thing we can't do is we can't do this like many calls to replace block. I mean, we can, but I don't want to. And I don't want to because of this whole, the overhead of getting a read-write buffer is like not 0. Seems like we're losing. I'm losing some people here. Yeah, let's try to do that. Let's try to do the drag. I'm gonna try to implement the drag version of this. It's gonna be called private. Making this a bool is so dumb. Because what do I say if I try replace blocks in and it's partially successful? Do I send you an array of bools? Like, I don't know. Do I send you back a rect of like the area we were able to update? I don't know. I kind of liked the try part because it implied that we were like attempting to do something that might not take effect. I don't know. We'll keep doing that. I might change my mind about that. Try replace blocks in. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna say, it's not a vector 3i anymore. It's gonna be an AABB bounds. Now we kind of need. Well, we can keep using utility.isWithinBounds, but I really want to put that function on the AABB. Actually, I should put that on the vector 3. You should be able to say is coordinates dot is within bounds and then plug in an AABB. That's cool. That's how I'm going to do that. For now, we'll just use this though, and then I'll put it in the vector 3 as a vector 3 function. Ryson, you'd make the action atomic. Either it applies fully or doesn't change anything at all. No, but because that doesn't work for us. That's not an acceptable outcome. Because what if you do this huge click drag and your click drag like takes you off the screen? You were partially successful. If I make it so that if I make it all or nothing like that, that's kind of dumb because that means you have to be incredibly precise with your placement. Like if you accidentally place just outside of the buildable area, the whole thing fails. I'd rather have graceful failure for that. But I think there's quite a few things we're going to do that we're going to want to be atomic. I don't know if that's one of them. But it's a good idea. That's why I'm kind of with this try stuff. Then it doesn't update beyond the screen. Yeah, but then what was the result of the function? Was the function successful or did it succeed or fail? Because it only accomplished a portion of what it was instructed to do. That's my conundrum. But as far as like I don't know how I want to treat that. I could have it return back an AABB that describes the area that was successfully updated. But that's a little weird because then you need to know that that's what you're expecting back. I could also make it an out variable that you can just discard if you don't want it. I don't know. So try replace blocks in bounds. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab this part first. We're going to say, well, this bounds check doesn't make a lot of sense. We're going to need to go through every... We're going to need to do a number of things. I see why I just iterated through the whole buildable area when I did this. We could do this in 2 passes. So what we did here is we went through just the whole buildable area because we need to make sure we're removing things that are no longer within the action in the active zone. So I could do that. The cheaper way to do that than to do this is to just iterate through the active blocks dictionary and say if the active blocks dictionary is not within the active zone, we just get rid of it. That's probably the first thing we do. We probably do that first, and then we iterate through the active zone and update the blocks at all those locations. But first, what we need to do is we need to get the buffer. So here we get the buffer. Ryson, ever attempt while mouse is outside the screen fails, but doesn't change away from the last successful attempt? Ever attempt. Every attempt, maybe. Every attempt while mouse is outside the screen fails. Well, we're not outside the screen. We're just outside the buildable area. Honestly, you'd probably make it so the mouse input XY is automatically clipped to be within the screen individually. Yeah, we're not talking about within the screen. We're talking about like within the buildable area. But we can also clip to that too. I mean, technically we are doing that. Let me see how we do that. We do that for hover. Actually, no, we don't do that for hover. We don't do that because we can't know that. If that presumes like there's this global buildable area. Here I want to like, I guess here in the tool system, we could like load the current thing we're building and then use those boundary checks there instead of having the boundary checks be in the function. Because if the boundary checks are no longer in the function, we can move away from having this try bullshit. Yeah, let's probably do that. The only thing about that. You were using screen as synonymous with buildable area. Honestly, the principle is the same, so I think it's a fine analogy. It doesn't really matter what boundary you're talking about, as long as it's like, you know, a physical boundary. You were being sloppy. You weren't really being sloppy. You were making like an analogy that was very aptly connected to what we're doing. Oh, I just ran an ad. Okay. We probably need to wrap it up soon. I need to go do some laundry. So we'll probably not get this whole implementation done, but we can do it. We can do it sloppily. We can do like an initial version. We can try to do it now. So what we've decided we're gonna do is that we're gonna iterate through. We're gonna say for each active block, maximum warp. Thanks, no Joel. In active blocks. What? What is being stored in active blocks? Oh, for active block in active blocks dot values. Is that how I do this in the tool system? Holes. For each key and keys. Oh, I do that, don't I? Well, I get the key collection. I don't feel like I should necessarily need to do that. Except I refer to that somewhere else in here. No, I don't. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Why aren't I just saying this? Why am I declaring this thing I don't use? Same thing here. Do I actually reference this anywhere? No, I don't. Just call it what it is. All right, similarly, we're iterating through the block values. So for each active block, a block won't tell me where it is. So this might not work as written. A block only has information about its form, its face, and its part. It doesn't actually know where it is. So that's a problem for sure. Maybe active blocks isn't a list of blocks. Maybe we have like an active zone. That's an AABB. And that describes like the area that we've been acting on. And then we interpret a new area. Maybe that's what we do. Instead of this active blocks coords equals active block tool, maybe instead what we actually say is uh, maybe we just build a new AABB if we need to. So try replace block at would create, I don't know. That's a little weird. So instead what we would actually want to do is like, let's make a new thing called, maybe we call it like the construction zone. I don't know. Private read only. What would this be? It would be an AABB. Oh, it's not read only. We'd have a private read only. Oh, we'd have a private AABB. Active zone. I don't know. Active volume. The active volume. So that's like what we did last time, or that's like what we're currently building in, and it might change. So it might grow or it might shrink. If it shrinks, we need to do something. So if we find coordinates in the active volume that are not included in the new boundaries of the action that we're doing, then we need to do some stuff. So I almost want like an iterator for my boundary so I can get all of the vector 3 coordinates in the AABB. Maybe we call this instead like last action affected. Maybe last action effect. Last action zone. I don't know. Prior action zone. Prior actions volume. I don't know. Action boundary. I don't know. We'll figure something out for that. But that'll let us know. So like similar to prior coords, we could just call this prior bounds. That's probably the most straightforward. Prior bounds. Move that down here. Did you hear warp it up? I said wrap it up, but that's funny. I actually do need to wrap it up. I just want to do this. I want to get this in here. So what would we say? We would say, so I need to add an iterator to, so where's the compiler error for one thing? Oh. Oh, we need to return. True. Yeah, I'm gonna move away from this try bullshit. I think Ryson's on the right track where we just hard clip it before we call this, and then it just does it. Anything we attempt to replace gets replaced. Replace isn't even the right word, because sometimes replacing a block on top of another block, I'm realizing. Like if we have a door object placed and there's a floor beneath it, and you place that door, I don't want the floor to disappear. That's insane. So we need to do it a little differently.
Most illogical.
Most illogical. Yes, exactly. Smooth in a second. Happy Wednesday. But we're not going to change this at the moment. We're going to just try to make this work. So what I need to do is I need to get my AABB, and I need my AABB to be I enumerable for vector 3i. Oh wow, it just knew that that's what I wanted to do. And how am I going to accomplish that is the question. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to basically say we can basically go from 0 to bounds. We just need to add the offset. That's a little weird. We're going to need to do hierarchical transform stuff to like make these numbers make more sense, but because we basically want to go from the minimum to the maximum. Yeah, we're basically going from negative offset through bounds minus offset. That's fine. So we're going to just I have a get index function that gets the index equivalent of the bounds, like gets the one-dimensional index. I could say 21D. Could be a static function. No, no, it can't. I mean, it could be, but it would be better if it's not. I think get index is a little better than 21D. Public int get index. Yeah, I feel like it knows what I want here. Sort of, not really. Towards its return coords.x times bounds dot, what is it? I have it written down for somebody. Who do I have it written down for? The block buffer? This should probably not be a function of the block buffer. It should probably be a function of the AABB. These could even be static functions, probably, if you passed the AABB. Or you have this that calls to a static function in the AABB or something. I don't know. So it's this, basically. Instead of coords, or vector, it's coords. Bounds.x, bounds.z. Yeah, this is it. This is the get index. I could specify it's like a 1D index. I don't like how that looks though. I could call it flatten, but that is confusing. I like get index. I know what it means. Get index. So what we do is we say or do we just do this the other way? Because we have our volume, which I should probably just call length. But although length is confusing, we could just say volume. We could just say for variable, we could say for variable I equals 0, I is less than volume, I plus plus. And then what we want to do is we want to do the opposite. So we want public vector 3i get vector. These should probably be static functions. Maybe this could be a static function on vector. I don't know. I don't know how I want to do it. I got to decide where I put that. Indexed volume. Volume index. Yeah, that's not bad actually. Yeah, I don't know. So we actually want the get vector version, which is also written out here as this. We do this here. So we say yield, return, yield return, get vector I. However, it's not just get vector I, it's get vector I minus offset. So this gets the actual position. That lets us iterate through the AABB. Man, cache invalidation and naming things. Are you right? Yeah, that's it's a struggle. It's such a good ending to the last stream. I like don't want to end the stream until I've like achieved something here. So here we can say for each vector 3i coords in bounds. Well, actually, first we're going to say for coords in the prior bounds. I need a function that returns the coordinates not overlapping. To simplify this, I want a function that like overlaps two boundaries and returns me the coordinates not that don't overlap, like sends me what's left over. I kind of want that. What aren't included. I also need a function now for like within. Oh, we have that. So I would say if if utility is within bounds, coords vector 3i dot 0. Oh, no, that's not right. Coords prior bounds dot minimum prior bounds dot maximum. That should be fine. Oh, but if that's true, we just continue. Yeah, continue. Otherwise, what is this? Redundant control. Oh, okay, I see it's redundant because we don't do anything with it. Otherwise, we say try reveal block at coords. So this is going to go through and reveal all the blocks not within prior bounds. Here, we want to say prior bounds equals bounds. So we can do that. Well, you can find a more efficient way of doing that later. But now we're going to say for each vector 3i coords in bounds, this is the part where here's the part where the buildable area is not maximum. We could say comp dot your auto replace put complete. Oh, thanks. Stupid auto replace. Try reveal block at. That would have been annoying. So if it is within bounds, I'm going to say not. Bounds dot minimum, bounds dot. Oh, of course, not bounds. We need this is crap right now, but we're making it work. Comp buffer, comp dot, what do I say down here or up here? Comp dot a b bounds. We're doing this so many different ways. I would like to normalize this soon. Otherwise, we are going to, yeah, try replace block at should take a buffer, because right now we're just going to have to do this here. We're getting rid of this. I don't have time to finish this. I really want to. I really want to. But I almost certainly don't have time. Give it a few more minutes, see if I can scrap it together here. So if it is within bounds, then we can do the stuff that we do here. We already have a buffer. So our buffer is this. Man, I'm bothering to get the, okay, no, this is right. So we get the, we get that, and then we say that is that. This is kind of a waste to just call this here, but I'm gonna, for now, I'm gonna allow it. It's kind of a hack, but it does what we want for now. We need to generate this bounds. So how do we figure this out? I need, this is my failure here. I need a state. I need to add a state to the state stack when we're in the middle of doing this. Or something. Or I need to add a state to the, I can start by just adding a state to the tool system, like an internal bool. Like, are we actively placing? If we're actively placing, we'll do one thing. Otherwise, this sucks because this is not good. Because then we need to clean up the placement. Maybe we don't actually. Maybe we don't need to clean up the placement. Maybe we can do this in a way where it doesn't matter. Although, no, we do need to clean it up somewhere. Yeah, okay, I need to think about this. All right. We definitely can't finish this today. I really wanted to. We need to go find somebody to raid. I got to get back to work and do some laundry. It feels like I'm always doing laundry. That's like always my excuse. All right. There's so many people on right now. Otter just started. Who on the team is streaming? Cito, Crykit. I always pronounce their name wrong. Procedural Rooms, Day 1, 3D Multiplayer, Dungeon Crawler, Godot. Oh, that sounds interesting. Good job today. Yeah, I think we bit off a little more than we could chew, but we tried it. I'm going to cue the music. I'm going to set up this raid. Appreciate everyone hanging out here. Kind of a not the ending I wanted for our episode 128, but we tried to bite off a little more than we could chew today. If we had another hour, I think we could have done it. But we've already done 3.5, which is longer than I normally do. But yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll finish tackling this. We'll be placing whole blocks of things, like whole fields of blocks in a one fell click real soon. I appreciate everyone hanging out today. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Maximum warp.